Welcome to Second Meadow, where I'm joined by a rather famous face who's become a big part of this club over the last few years, Guillem Balague. Guillem, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm not as famous as people over there who've gone to the games even more than me, don't you?
So we've got a rather interesting tie today. Biggleswade against Stotfold. I say tie, of course it's a league game, but this will be a cup final in a few weeks' time as well. Just tell everybody a bit more about that.
It's a derby, and I'm learning all these things, of course, but having been only at the job for 2.5 years, but I've seen that these games are played a bit different, like every other derby. We lost the game that we play in the league at their place 2-1 in Christmas, around a time that we kind of dipped. We played the cup final, the same cup final they're going to play in the 2nd of May. We played against them 2 seasons back, and we won 2-1. And also it's been few issues along the way, like Charlie Joy, who's going to play up front for us, used to play for Stotfold, and we did the approach for him, and let's say that it wasn't an easy transfer, but it did happen eventually. He scored against them in the first leg of this game. Let's see what happens today, but yeah, that extra tension, it's something that adds to the game, adds to the fixture, adds to the approach from the players, and adds to the approach from the fans. So no complaints.
You've said before that this all came about because you got asked you'd like to be director of football at a club. Why not? But what was the actual logistics of how it happened? Was it an email out of nowhere? Was it? Yeah. Had you been down here before, or what?
No. It was an email from Chris Lewis, the chairman, who basically said, "We hear you talk about football, but can you actually put in practice those things that you talk about?" And it was an instant yes. Let's meet for coffee, and we met in Hitchin, and I straight away gave him ideas that I had about what we could do. I hadn't even been to see the team. I didn't know which division we were in, but I just thought, if you give me the opportunity, and he says, go ahead. So that was October 2014, and it's the best thing I've ever done. I'm having a great time, but also it's taken a lot of my time, but I don't mind at all. I love it because it's about dealing with expectations, trying to push people forward, maximizing their potential, and having, if you like, a vision of where we want to go and how you deal with that, and how you deal with the people that helps you get there, and how you deal with the players that are here. A lot of things that eventually affect the result and the performances, but they have to be spot on. Otherwise, you lose everything. You lose confidence. You lose the people that help you. You lose a lot of things. So it's demanding, but it's extraordinary. I'm having a great time.
But you came in with all that enthusiasm and all that knowledge, but having not actually done the job before, but seen things from the outside in, has it been harder than you thought it would be to actually put it into practice?
Hard is not the word. I always knew, because when I do things, I just go 120%. So I knew that if I was going to do this, it wasn't going to be halfway. It was going to be full on. And I know the people around me were saying, "You're crazy. You don't have the time. You're traveling all the time. You're writing books. You're on the television. You're on the radio." But somehow, through having the right order, having a lot of order, a lot of help from people that are close to me, it's all coming together. And yes, the enthusiasm is there. The ideas are there. We still got to push on. We're still long away from where we are. The only disappointing thing are things that are not under our control, like the lack of facilities. That has been really disappointing because we want to grow, we want to have more teams. We've been approached by under-8 teams, by under-14 teams, by under-18 teams, and we cannot say yes to them because we don't have anywhere to train them. That's been really mad and really annoying. But that's also another thing that we have to work towards, to actually put it together and be able to, to give them the possibility of joining us. So it's not all about the game. It's a lot about the club and how we can grow.
You've spoken a lot about that community aspect, but do you prioritise that so much so that it's above on-pitch success, or is it about a bit of both coming together?
It's keeping the right balance. So you've got a first team that has to succeed, progress. For it to succeed, it has to progress. And we've gone from being 10th last season, which is the highest ever, or equal the highest ever, but more points than ever, to fighting for between 4th and 7th, which is already progress. You have to be seeing that the football that we want to put in practice throughout the club is played by the first team. But we have to see them winning. So we're in a cup final. As I said, we'll be top 6, hopefully. That is success. That is progression. But that is like an engine of everything else. If you have that and you can say, look, this is what we're doing, then you go to the sponsors, to the fans and say, come and see us. By the way, do you kids want to join us in our academy? Do you want to see our coaching? And then reinforce the idea that the academy is a complete part of the club for everybody. Both things at the same time will take us where we want to go.
I've heard Tracy James say, and I have to say I completely agree with this, that she's surprised that projects like this don't happen more often.
Absolutely.
In terms of a well-known journalist or a well-known ex-professional player going into a club and rather than being a sugar daddy or anything, using their connections to build things organically. Does it surprise you that something like this doesn't seem to have been done that often before and isn't commonplace as a way of giving back?
I'm surprised. The good news is that I see more clubs doing it or bringing really good coaches into the clubs, which is fantastic. I'm surprised that it doesn't happen more often because there's no secret to it. All we want to do is everybody more or less play under the same methodology and the same kind of coaching and the same ideas. Bring local coaches and local players to be the best they can be, and that's done by everybody linked to each other. So under 17s going to the under 23s. Under 23s going to the first side, coaches getting together every 6 weeks or so, having a director of academy who's got the idea of the club, not just of a particular team, getting rid of the word manager. We're all coaches, we're all working towards the same goal, we're part of a bigger thing, a bigger idea. It's not that difficult, but I know that the culture here is a bit different, so we are a little bit ahead of the time in these divisions. But if they see what we're doing, there's no secret to it, no much effort and enthusiasm and a clear idea where you want to go. And I think, everybody should do it, because otherwise what happens is if you put too much emphasis into the first team, you put all the money there, you put the money into the players, then, what happens to that money? They win, they lose, only one team can go up, can win this division. Why not just put that effort into bringing good coaches that can improve your players? Simple idea, but one that is taking a while to be implanted here.
On the subject of coaches, you've talked a lot about how that's central to this philosophy. I heard you touting about getting Raúl or Carlos Puyol in down the line in a few years. There's some absolutely ridiculous sort of cascade of well-known famous faces who've got their photo taken by you in a Biggleswade United shirt. And you've got Simon Muller down as well from Norwegian TV. Is there a possibility that down the line a famous face could start their coaching career after their playing career at Biggleswade United, thanks to you? A Spaniard coming over?
You have to be realistic, and when you get the Lucas from Barcelona, Espanyol, PSG, you're going to get him for a while. When you get Mendieta, you're going to get him for a while. When you get Seaman, you're going to get him for a while. When you get Sergio Urbano, former Barcelona player under Pep Guardiola, you're going to get him for a while. But that's what's going to help us push, because Sergio Urbano 4 months here actually helps everybody improve. Everybody realize the standards that we should aim for. Everything helps. Absolutely everything helps. In terms of big faces, they are helping, holding the shirt, and that's about it. I don't want any more help, but if they come coaching, brilliant. We had Paco Ayestaran here. We had people that have been talking to the players, talking to the coaches. All that helps. But it's about improving the coaches and the players here. It's about giving them the best opportunity they can to be the best they can be. So this week the coaches have gone to see Carl Robinson at Charlton. Some in the past they've been to see Karanka at Middlesbrough. They've been to see Fulham. They've been to see Spurs. Pochettino and his coaching team gave us 8 hours of their time. So all those things will happen if you want to be a coach here. And we're still looking for coaches, all the time looking for coaches. So if anybody feels that they can add, they can learn here, just come over and join us.
And I'm sure back in October 2014 there would have been a lot of cynics who would have said, oh, that's a PR stunt, it won't last, it's sort of something to make the journalist look good, etc, etc. You're here 2.5 years later and things are still progressing. I gather this is very much a long-term project for you, and that you intend to be here for a long time. Absolutely.
I'd never heard those voices complaining or anything. I'm having a great time. The game is about to start, by the way, and there's a queue of people that wanted to come. So let's win today, and this is on the long term. So Let's
Thank
win
you very
today.
much for your time, Guillem.
See you later.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Revolts.